Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. On a chaotic day in the Call of Duty scene, no doubt. Finally some confirmation from the CDL exactly what's going on here with the World Championship, but also lots of talk about some serious mismanagement at the Seattle Surge. Octane even potentially implying he wants to get out of there as soon as is feasibly possible. And tweeting your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I greatly appreciate it. If any of the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, wanted to say thanks to Elgato for sorting me out with his face cam. Brand new camera. You guys may be able to tell. The lighting is so much better than the old one. I think my lips don't look bright red like I've got lipstick on like before. It's also in 60 FPS. You guys might think the 60 FPS is a bit too weird, so let me know if you guys like it in the comment section below, I guess. It's maybe a bit over the top, I don't know. I might have to tone it down to 30 by the time it comes around to do like match highlight reviews and stuff like this on the match days, because it will increase the rendering times, I guess. But apart from that, we'll see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts anyway, regardless, down below. Let's dive into the actual first thing, that being from the OpTic side. 14th of August, they're coming out with another book. I think it's through Frank or something, and honestly that they've done so much for, well, not just Call of Duty esports, but esports in general. I thought this is pretty cool, to be honest, and this is coming in just a couple of days time. Let's dive into this then. So yesterday we talked, if you guys missed the video, about Octane's latest YouTube video when he was breaking down the top 10 players. He said that he wanted Standy as a player going into the Cold War season. Now for whatever reason that was denied. We speculated, okay, could it be teammates that didn't want him in? Could it be the actual organisation, which seems more likely because, you know, we know the Seattle Surge might not be the best run organisation. Kind of surprising, right, given Luminosity Gaming is kind of within the same ownership group, and they're kind of the LG team of today that we used to have a few years ago. Now, Joey Nubsy, of course, the coach over there, came on the Reddit and said, yes, we wanted him as a sub at the least going into the season, but alas, I was in fact the substitute. Pretty big indictment, to be honest. And the management over there saying, yeah, we wanted him, but for whatever reason, they didn't want to actually have him, or like pay any money or whatever to get him on the sub bench. They decided to keep Joey Nubsy their coach instead, who of course isn't going to be the most viable pro player if he was ever needed to step up into that role. Standy even says in reply to Crone's tweet that, like, damn, I didn't even know that they want to be on that team, and of course has gone on to do fantastic things on the Minnesota Rokkr these last couple of months. So this is from Bob Morris, right? So Bob Morris Jr., former general manager of the Seattle Surge, had his tweets on the channel a couple of times before because he was removed from their organisation last year. It was unclear whether he'd left himself or whether they'd fired him or whatever, and he comes up with a tweet right here which looks like the following: Surge took out a forgivable PPP loan from the US government. So this is like the pandemic payment protection program type stuff, you know, one of these pandemic loans, and from the US government in the amount of either $150,000 to $350,000 to cover salaries of employees. There were 2 US employees myself, but they still cut our pay by 25%. So this is pretty remarkable to see, to be honest, and he goes on to say, look, correct, we were hamstringed from doing anything. Joey was not who I wanted to be a substitute this season. Maybe Bob left actually the middle of this season rather than the middle of last season, but anyway, he didn't want to be a sub either, but our ownership group wouldn't allow us to bring anyone else into the mix, and we had to have a sub, and the new rules allowed a coach to be the designated sub. It was a total mess. I got out of there as soon as I could. I can't imagine the mindset of any of these players on Surge this past season. Bless them for not going mental. And Octane comes back in reply with the, well, how many is this? 7 exclamation marks, kind of, agreeing with what Bob has to say. So, you know, all this discussion really from Bob, of course, is someone who's left the organisation now. Joey Nubsy, who, you know, probably wouldn't be saying what he was saying if he was still contracted for next year, and you'd imagine Octane in a similar boat, right? Like, it's a very strange situation, and obviously not a good look at all for a lot of people. I think a lot of people as a result of this are going to be fans of the players on Seattle Surge as opposed to the organisation itself, and you know, just really strange and surprising stuff, to be honest. And what it does mean is that maybe Octane, at least in this tweet, is kind of indicating, yeah, maybe we're not going to be on Seattle Surge next season, as the flags say. Peep Octane Sam's reply, you gotta think he's probably done with the Seattle Surge. So that could of course mean that some discussions are ongoing. Does he want to go elsewhere? I'm sure he could certainly walk into another pro team. I'm sure one that he potentially wants to go to is Los Angeles Thieves. We'll see how that develops right over these coming days and weeks. But yes, still a lot of implications about Seattle Surge's management. There was also this that came out from Aches. There's more than one, you know, potentially implying that there's some other organizations that are out there doing kind of similar dodgy stuff to what Seattle Surge were doing. Aches, of course, last year on the Los Angeles Guerrillas, that didn't work out too well for him. So Alex Rubens over at LAG comes out and says, yes, there is another dodgy organization, but it's not the one that Pat wants you to believe. So I'm saying that, yeah, it's not us doing dodgy stuff, it's actually one of these other organizations in the CDL making some questionable calls. And it's interesting in a way, right, because we get rid of the free franchise era, and the idea is you go into franchising and all the teams are legit and there's no dodgy stuff going on, and all of a sudden, you know, we're still getting indictments like that. Not necessarily players not getting paid like $50,000+ like we used to see with Red Reserve in denial, but still not the greatest look, all things considered. So this is what comes out from Crone yesterday, about 10 hours ago, at least as of recording. Sources: CDL playoffs and champs will go ahead as planned with fans in Los Angeles. I'd heard like so many things on this the last couple of days where people were saying yes, fans are off, like it's not going to happen. Then all of a sudden yesterday there was people coming out and saying yeah, okay, fans are going to be there. So I was like, okay, what's even going on? And then Craig comes out with this and says yes, there's a lot more to this though, hearing that fans who attend will have to show negative test results. Hopefully we get some sort of announcement today. Indeed, they do go ahead and announce it, and I think this has been a massive concern of a lot of people really these last several days, to be honest, that the CDL, like what's going to happen with the World Championship. We don't want the Stage 5 major to feel like champs looking back on the year when there was the crowd and everything was wild, and we know that there's a lot of players right now that are real with it, and that's obviously a big concern, right, in terms of having to show a negative test result to actually compete at the event. But we were hoping that they wouldn't like ban fans or go down that route or anything. Just we didn't know what restrictions could come into play. So this is obviously a great news, to be honest, for the Call of Duty scene, that this is going to be happening pretty much as it was going to. Maybe some more heavy restrictions, as you may well expect, to be honest, it being Los Angeles anyway compared to in Texas before, but also probably restrictions that make sense, given that the last thing we want is for our players not to be able to compete, right, because they end up having a positive test result just before Championship Sunday. This is the statement they come out with. Call of Duty League has the best fans in the world, and we know you've been waiting to see your favourite teams and players return to the main stage. Our top priority is the health and safety of our fans, staff and players. With the rising rate of COVID-19 cases in Los Angeles County, we are enhancing our safety measures for the Call of Duty League Championship weekends. Effective immediately, all attendees will be required to show proof of vaccination or, if not fully vaccinated, a negative PCR antigen test received within 72 hours of the day of your attendance. All attendees must wear a mask during the event regardless of vaccination status, more details, etc, etc, etc. So, okay, restrictions come into play, but this is so much better than what it could have been, let's just be honest. We were seriously talking these last few days about no fans at the event and what that could have potentially implied. Thankfully, that is not the case. Also, it seems casters are going to be there. Miles has been joking about it the last few days. He was joking about it in the chat for the Breaker Boy podcast, and we were doing it live last night, and saying that, kind of implying, trying to have a bit of banter back and forth, but pretty much implying that yes, casters will be there, and Maven comes out in the reply as well. So seems like everything is going ahead pretty much as planned. Yes, the restrictions are stronger than maybe they would have been, but to me it seems like a pretty logical move, quite frankly, to have it so that, okay, people either have to test negative or be vaccinated or whatever to attend. Like, it seems like a sensible idea, so that it doesn't just spread rapidly throughout the entire crowd, and therefore there's a higher chance of the pros getting it or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, we want to be careful with this type of stuff, because, as I say in this tweet, the last thing we want is for big name players to come to Championship Sunday having got it for whatever reason or another, and then they can't play, right? And then it puts an asterisk over the whole event. Like, let's say we go into Championship Sunday and Simp tests positive and can't play, and FaZe lose, then all of a sudden everyone looking back on that year will think of it as an asterisk, right? Okay, they had to bring Sib in as their sub, and then therefore some other team won or whatever, right? Like, who really knows? It's just the last thing we want. We want the best competition to come out right at the end of the year. It's if anything, kind of surprising that the last couple of events, Stage 4 and Stage 5, haven't had any issues like this, right? As Crone says, the question is, will we see any emergency substituted champs due to players testing positive? As Josh says in reply, I'd be very surprised if they managed to keep all players negative, which I kind of agree in a way that I'm somewhat surprised that these last couple of events, no one tested positive at Stage 4, Stage 5. Maybe champs at the time it happens. Hopefully it doesn't happen to, a lot of players if it does, but that's, I guess, is the issue in a sense, that if one player tests positive on a team, there's a decent chance the rest of the guys might have it, right, if they've been in the same practice room or whatever. Who even knows? It's still a concern, but definitely way better news than what we could have had these last couple of days. It's great to see things going ahead. Wanted to finish off with a couple of things as well. This comes out from Crone also with regards to league play. This I thought was kind of, maybe surprising. So first of all, like a bug fixed in Search and Destroy, where you can't even plant the bomb. If you guys remember that, like if you lay down or something, there's some sort of like prone bomb plant glitch or something. Not really sure how that even happened. Apparently that has now been fixed. But also on the league play side, map and mode will now only be shown once players have been found and the lobby has been locked in. Our intention is to show the map and mode that you'll be playing and not provide this info earlier to allow for lobby shopping, which is kind of confusing in a way, because I thought that when they initially allowed you to do this, it was because they, wanted you to lobby shop. Like, I'd go into a lobby, it's a Moscow Search and Destroy, it's a Miami Search and Destroy, get me out of there, get me in a respawn. Unfortunately, they've now changed that, so you don't have a chance to decide again. If you're in a Search and Destroy, you're in a Search and Destroy, it is what it is. So I thought, honestly, like, the way they did it before, like, I just thought the way that was, like, how it was then, it must have been intentional, but apparently not the case, and they've reverted that, which is not maybe the greatest look. I guess it does mean people get into lobbies is easier, but, you know, I don't know. I'm not necessarily too happy about it because I like being able to skip out Search and Destroys and play a respawn-only playlist, but apparently that's not going to be the case anymore. This just from Lion to finish off the video, some Mutineers cards. I mean, we've got Skies here at a 1.28 hardpoint, 1.24 Surge, 1.17 control. He was absolutely frying, having not with the greatest stage, but I guess maybe these guys can turn it around for the World Championships. We'll look at the FaZe cards a little bit later today. And just to finish off with this, on this day back in 2013, a legendary clutch on Express Search and Destroy. We may well see, well, many great moments to continue on at, well, Express Search and Destroy at the World Championship. This was John in peak form. Maybe he can do something like this again back in Los Angeles Thieves this time around. Thankfully, in front of fans on LAN in California. It's absolutely beautiful stuff, exactly as we would have hoped it would be. In tweeting your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and have grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
4-3. I'm interested, and let's go for the listen now.
Rushing.
Damn, he got me. He's pushed back. He's on the stairs.
He's one shot. They're bridge hallway.